What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back, everyone. This is Lee, and yes, today we'll be talking about the COLBOR W100 versus the Zhiyun X100. So, with all that said, let's begin. So right before we get started, I just want to point out that COLBOR, they did send this unit to me for evaluation. However, as usual, all opinions are my own opinions about the product. Also, for the Zhiyun X100, I went out to pick up this unit just for this review. So with all that said, let's take a look at some unboxing. Now, as for the packaging, I'll have to say that the COLBOR comes in smaller than the Zhiyun. So you're planning to ship your lights left and right in these boxes, definitely the COLBOR is going to give you a smaller package. By the way, this is a brand new unit of the Zhiyun X100, so to keep that in mind, you saw me just cut open the seal, and this is what it looks like inside the box. Now in the box, you do get the lights. The COLBOR comes in with no plastic around the light, but it does comes with a cover, as you can see, the plastic cover. Whereas the Zhiyun, it does not provide you a cover like the COLBOR, but it does come with an abundance of warning labels on the light. But anyways, you get your AC power adapter, as you see right here. Also in the package, you do get your reflector. However, the COLBOR comes in with a soft dome cover for your reflector, whereas the Zhiyun doesn't give you that at all. But the Zhiyun provides this lacy bag for your AC adapter where you can hang on your light stand. Now, as for some quick specs, both lights are 100 watts, they're bicolor. The COLBOR features a 31mm light bead, whereas the Zhiyun features a 20mm light bead. The COLBOR has a frosted glass, whereas the Zhiyun just have glass. Also, they both have their own app. However, COLBOR, you can access NFC. Now let's take a look at the weight. Now the COLBOR weighs about 338 grams, whereas the Zhiyun weighs about 378 grams. And as for the AC power adapter, the COLBOR is 418 grams, whereas the Zhiyun is 634 grams. And also I want to mention that I did measure out the AC length. The COLBOR came out at 153 inches, whereas the Zhiyun came out roughly around 179 inches. So Zhiyun is giving you a longer cable. And as for the reflector, the COLBOR weighs about 40 grams, whereas the Zhiyun weighs about 63 grams, which is very interesting because the Zhiyun is plastic, whereas the COLBOR is metal. And you add up all the accessories together with the COLBOR is a lighter package at $829, whereas the Zhiyun is $1,085. So now let's take a look at the unit. On top of the COLBOR, you get your intensity dial right here. Also, you get your app button right here. Vent, your camera strap hose right here, which connects. You could put one here, or you could put one here and do a little like necklace around your neck if you want. Also, for the Zhiyun, on top, you get your camera strap right here and your vents and more camera straps right here on the edge. Now let's take a look at it vertically. Now on the left side of the COLBOR, you get your camera straps right here. You get your quarter screw right here and more camera strap right there. On the Zhiyun, you get your camera strap hose right here. Your dials for your Kelvin and your intensity levels right here. Also, let's take a look at the bottom of the unit. Here we go. You get 2 quarter screws at the bottom unit for the COLBOR W100. You get your USB-C, DC, and more connector pins right here. Also for the Zhiyun, you get 2 quarter screws right here. And unlike the COLBOR, there's actually a little cover for the DC and also for the USB-C. And of course, you get your camera strap right here, the holes right here and right there. Let's take a look on this end right here. Here's the power button to power on the unit. Here is a little shortcut key for the intensity, so you can jump into increments. On the Zhiyun though, you still get a bunch of camera strap holes right here. Also, if you take a look at this, this is for like an accessory for your battery. So if you got a battery accessory, you can just plug it in right there. Now, let's take a look at the back of the unit. Now on the back of the unit, you get your fans right there. Here's your dials for your intensity and for your Kelvin. Also, you get the screen right there. For the Zhiyun, more or less the same. Get your fan, get your screen right here. And your power is down here, by the way. And let's take a look at the front of the unit. And as for the front of the unit, let me remove this right over here. The way you remove this is like this. And here is the front of the unit. You can see the light bead, the frosted glass. Also, I want to add the mount is not interchangeable. Now let's take a look at the actual user experience. The startup, I would have to say that the COLBOR starts up real quick than the Zhiyun by 2 or 3 seconds right here. Now here is the bicolor diode. The COLBOR is at the bottom right, whereas the Zhiyun is on the top left. Here's the intensity diode. The COLBOR is on the top right, whereas the Zhiyun is at the bottom left. Now as for the incremental shortcut keys, when you press down the diodes, the COLBOR can go to 0, 25, 50, 75 to 100%, whereas the Zhiyun can only go to 0, 50, and 100. So if you need to go to, let's say 26% on the Zhiyun, you need to either go to 0 or 50 and just dial it down. And as for the COLBOR, all you have to do is hit the shortcut key from 0% to 25% and dial it into 26%, and that is pretty quick. And as for the color temps for the shortcut keys, the COLBOR goes to 2700K, 3200K, 4300K, 5600K, and 6500K. The Zhiyun goes from, crazy enough, 2700K to 5500K to 6500K. It's kind of weird. Now as for the app portion, I would happily say that according to Apple, neither of these apps is collecting your data. Now let's take a look at the COLBOR app. And I would happily say that you could use your phone as NFC connection. Also, you could definitely use your iPad as the controller for your lights as well. Now, it was very easy to set up with the COLBOR. I was up and running in less than a few minutes. But as for the Zhiyun app, it's pretty, it's pretty bad. And that's just because you need to actually update through a Windows PC, it seems, which I did right here. And I basically had to update the firmware on the actual light, then to get the app working later on. This took so long to do, and connecting to the light took a very long time as well. So in my honest opinion, if you want to get up and running real quick, COLBOR is probably the way to go. Zhiyun needs to work on their lighting firmware through a phone or some sort of iPad through Wi-Fi, because going through a computer, a Windows PC is not what I would call it convenient. And as for the accessories, I'm gonna leave the links down below for both brands because I'm pretty sure that both brands are gonna expand this segment on the website. But COLBOR, they did send their accessories over to me. And here is the power bank. It's made out of metal, it feels. It's very solid. Have a quarter screw at the bottom, quarter screw on the top. Also comes with 3 cables, a D-tap to USB-C, a D-tap to DC, and also a USB-C to USB-C cable. Now, the way that you use this unit is basically you snap on the actual light to the top of the power bank, and you attach any of the D-tap cables that came with it to the power bank to the light, and there you go. And you could add on a leg to the quarter screw at the bottom, as you see on my end right here, but my end is it's kind of crooked right here, but you get the picture. It's very easy to attach additional accessories along with this power adapter, which is very cool. And with the softbox, it's very easy to set up. You just pop it right open, as you see right here. Apply the softbox material in the front, and then you're ready to rock and roll. This is such a very cool mobile style setup right here. And then once you're done with your shoot, you could definitely put the softbox away real quick. Now here's the power test. We will be going through all the bicolors and percentage, so let's hold on tight. Here's 2700K at 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100%. Here is 3200K. Here is 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100%. Here is 4300K. Here is 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100%. Here is 5600K. Here is 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100%. Here is 6500K at 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, and 100%. Now here's the reflector test at 100% 6500K. As you can see, the Zhiyun has a clear hot spot in the middle, whereas the COLBOR is very soft on the edges and also in the middle. Now here's the temperature test. We're shooting at 100% 6500K at 1 hour of duration. I did notice throughout this entire test that the COLBOR is generally warmer than the Zhiyun. Now here's the heat test on the actual lighting unit, and I noticed that throughout the 15, 30, and 45 1 hour mark, I noticed that at 6500K at 100%, the COLBOR is generally warmer than the Zhiyun by 10 to 20 degrees. So here is the fan noise test, and throughout the 1 hour of recording, I noticed that the COLBOR is just about 10 decibel louder than the Zhiyun. Now here is the light meter test. We're doing exactly 1 meter away from the light meter. We're looking at the fire candle, TCP, and also the TM30s, which is represented under RF and RG. Now here is 10% to 50% at 2700K. Here is 60% to 100%. Here is 3200K, 10% to 50%, 60% to 100%. Here is 4300K, here is 10% to 50% and 60% to 100%. Here is 5600K, here is 10% to 50%, 60 to 100. Here is 6500K, here is 10% to 50 and 60 to 100. So just to wrap things up, the Zhiyun X100 versus the COLBOR W100, let's talk about the pros and cons on each. Now, for the Zhiyun X100, the pros are you get a longer AC cable. Also, the Zhiyun X100, the fan noise on this unit is a lot quieter than the COLBOR W100. Also, the actual unit is a lot cooler on the Zhiyun versus the COLBOR, and also the AC power brick. Now, there is a catch to that because the con of the Zhiyun is the fire candle is not as strong as the COLBOR on the Zhiyun. Also, the color accuracy is not as good on the Zhiyun versus the COLBOR. So basically, this light might be quieter and cooler than the COLBOR, but this is not a very color accurate light and is not that powerful versus the COLBOR. Now, another con to the Zhiyun X100 is I bought this light in 2024. This has been out for a while. I still need to update the firmware through a computer, which is kind of a hassle, but once that is done, hooking this light up to the app took a while versus the COLBOR. COLBOR was a lot faster, so that is something for you guys to definitely take note of. Also, the ecosystem of the Zhiyun is mainly a couple of lights so far, and they're really a gimbal company, so this is not their primary unit. This is their secondary product. Now, another con to the Zhiyun X100 is there is no vertical quarter screw mount on this unit at all, so you cannot vertically position this light onto your stand, so just keep that in mind. Also, the increments on this unit is kind of weird. I wish they actually, took some time, look at the other brands and basically try to copy their increments, but maybe it could be fixed through a firmware update, maybe through my phone, not on the computer, but it is what it is, right? Also, the accessory. I don't understand about the lacy bag accessory. That's kind of weird for the AC adapter. I wish they just copy from the rest of the lighting companies out there and just put on a wire for the AC adapter. So that is another thing that I noticed about the Zhiyun that I wish they would actually try and copy off of the other brands. Also, I was about to pick up the accessories for the Zhiyun, but when you look at the reviews, it's kind of daunting because this is one of the biggest retailers in the United States, and all these people are saying that, yeah, it's having a lot of issues. It dies out. It's just a lot of problems on these batteries, which kind of makes me scratch my head because their new unit, the CX100, that thing is battery attached. You cannot separate that, right? So this unit with the detachable battery, you still have battery problems. So I don't know. I just don't think that it's a great idea to go out and spend all this money on a first gen product. I'm just going by what I see online. So if it was the opposite, it was 5 stars, I would tell people to go pick it up. And actually I would probably pick it up because I wanted to compare that with the COLBOR, but seeing the reviews, no. And also, if no other reviewers brought this up, the fire stickers. Yes, the fire stickers on the Zhiyun X100. There were too many of them. In my opinion, it was just warning after warning after warning. So as a matter of fact, when I did my testing, I had a cup of water just in case, just for this unit, because it's telling me that this unit may actually catch on fire, even though this is a lot cooler than this unit, but it tells me that they're not sure, or maybe they're just overly protected for the consumer. So that's a 50-50 right there, pro or con to some people out there. But at the end of the day, the price tag is $250, and that is what you'll be getting with the Zhiyun. Now, let's take a look at the COLBOR pros and cons. Now, here is some pros to the COLBOR already. We talked about this. The color and the output of this light is better than the Zhiyun X100. Also, the app was a lot faster to load up and to sync with this unit. And you could use your NFC connections if you want from your phone for this light. Also, the increment shortcuts on this light actually makes a lot of sense than the Zhiyun. So if you're in a rush, you could get to your actual number that you want real quick on this unit. Now, let's talk about some cons about this particular unit. Already we kind of know about this, but the cable is a lot shorter. The AC cable, AC adapter cable is a lot shorter than the Zhiyun. So that's always been an issue for COLBOR. Now, another issue with the COLBOR is that the dials are plastic, which is, you know what? Most of my lights are all plastic. It's just that this one feels more tactile. This one just feels like, you know, just regular, you know, I mean, it still works. It's fine, but this feels a lot nicer. Also, another issue is you don't get any rubber cover on your AC and USB-C right here. So that is another thing that I noticed about this unit. They did some, you know, they cheaped out on some areas, and that's one of the areas they cheaped out on. So there we go. And last but not least, I wish that the screen was a slightly bigger, just like the Zhiyun. The Zhiyun I could actually read from afar, but the COLBOR, you actually have to like look really, really close. But at the end of the day, if you look at the price tag on both of these units, you can definitely see the clear difference. I would definitely prefer the W100 over the Zhiyun X100 just because the COLBOR in general is a lighting company first. So when you buy a COLBOR, you're actually buying an ecosystem. They got tons of lights versus the Zhiyun. Zhiyun just got gimbals, so that is gimbals and some lights. So if you want to go out and invest on a lighting system for your entire workflow, I would definitely prefer the COLBOR over the Zhiyun currently, but who knows what will happen in the future. So stay tuned for Zhiyun if they plan to do more lights down the road. So with all that said, thank you guys for checking me back. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely click like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Take it easy. Peace.